Gaming Bolt presents 15 games that should be released on Nintendo NX. After coming off E3 with very little that interested gamers around the world for Wii U and 3DS, it would be interesting to speculate what games would be awesome to launch, or, at least, arrive at some point in the next generation Nintendo NX. Here is our list of 15 games we would like to see released on Nintendo's next console. Golden Sun. Where would we be without Golden Sun for Nintendo DS? Considered a groundbreaking JRPG for its time, Golden Sun brought us a band of adepts, trying to protect the world of Wired from a horrible power. With Psi-Energy abilities, adepts ventured throughout many lands fighting off monsters in epic boss battles and learn a passion for their beloved planet. 2 sequels were released not long after, one for Game Boy Advance and Nintendo DS, the original, and also received high praise. A natural evolution of Golden Sun to come to full 3D on NX makes so much sense. Kid Icarus. Kid Icarus originally debuted in the mid-80s. A genuinely unique platformer with twists and turns and magical powers really lived up to this 8-bit classic when Nintendo Entertainment System was still fairly new. It wasn't until Project Sora put together Kid Icarus Uprising that the game really took off on its own. Released for the Nintendo 3DS and becoming more of a third-person shooter, Uprising pushed the, at the time, newly released 3DS to its limits. Taking control of the main character Pit, once again, it's up to him to protect his world from Medusa. With an excellent cast of characters and voiceovers in this battle-heavy adventure, Uprising showed that Pit was a couple decades out of the spotlight, but he definitely soared to new heights on his return. Excitebike and Truck. Excite Truck launched with the Nintendo Wii in 2006 to mostly good reviews. Back even further was its predecessor Excitebike, going way back to the NES era. It's time that Nintendo took some notes from the other very successful racers such as MotorStorm and combined with Excite Truck and Excitebike. Maybe toss in some Excite Cars. I just made that one up! A more serious racer for those who need a little more depth than the hilarious Mario Kart games. Excite Truck's controls were very easy to master and the courses were great. Bring Excitebike to the modern era, mix in some other vehicles, and there we have a great NX launch title. Wave Race. When I received my Nintendo 64 during the launch year for Christmas, I was one of the lucky few. I received 2 games, Mortal Kombat Trilogy and Wave Race 64. I was never really into the more realistic racers, and at the time, at my young age, it was ultra realistic. Those waves were crazy, but fun to maneuver and master. The selections weren't that great for choosing riders and wave runners, but the graphics destroyed everything else at the time. Later on, Wave Race Blue Storm made a beautiful showing on the GameCube, but whenever someone talks about Wave Race, it revolves around the N64 version. Pokemon. A game that would make the world come crashing down if it debuted on console. That's right, Pokemon. A game so sorely needed and requested to release on console, Pokemon is a story about a child with a dream to be the best Pokemon trainer in the world. It's sad that Nintendo and Game Freak have decided to keep this franchise to handheld systems, but with a good online functionality, voice chat, and some gimmicky, but fun controls, Pokemon would be a strong entry into a home console market, making Nintendo and the NX a must-have console right away. Hyrule Warriors 2. Based off the popular series Samurai Warriors, Hyrule Warriors made quite a splash. Darn, I should have used that cliche in the Wave Race entry. To fans so eagerly anticipating a new Zelda game. Changing up its beat from the adventuring puzzles and exploring, Hyrule Warriors was a pure hack-and-slash adventure with a unique story that blended story, characters, and new and old bosses from several different Zelda titles. They proved that Zelda could work on many different levels other than its usual fare. And no, Zelda is not the name of the main character! Hybrid Heaven. Hybrid Heaven released in 1999 for the Nintendo 64. Konami released this little-known gem when more mature games were starting to disappear from Nintendo Land and began taking over Sony PlayStation's console. As a synthetic hybrid man created by aliens and living in an underground alien facility below Manhattan, it is the player's job to find out the plot behind these aliens. It's rumored that the game was originally a Metal Gear game and has been spotted to have many of the same features. However, at the time, Metal Gear had moved to PlayStation, and Konami didn't want to fully abandon Nintendo. Hybrid Heaven was born. It received good to mixed reviews, but it would definitely be a pleasure to see a reboot or even a continuation of this intriguing game. Mother Trilogy Remastered. Few other games are as beloved as the Mother/Earthbound series. It's about an urban America, aliens, jokes, monsters, and just an all-around good time. Those who know of this series love it, but many have yet to play Mother's extremely offbeat approach to storytelling and gameplay. So why take the world by storm? Gather all 3 Mother's games, remaster them in full 3D with beautiful new graphics, and release it on the NX. Currently in a time when remasters are the thing to do, a full remaster of a beloved franchise for a great price could really grab a whole new audience. Rogue Squadron. Rogue Squadron first released on the Nintendo 64 as a console exclusive. Nintendo maintained sequel exclusivity on its other consoles therefore as well. Rogue Squadron was a revolutionary game for its time, taking control of the ships from Star Wars movies and carrying out missions to stop the evil Empire in their tracks. It really felt like you were taken away off to another galaxy far, far away. Music from the movies really made this space shooter an epic game. Let's get a new one for NX. Nintendo Dogs, Cats, and Exotics. There's nothing more lonesome and depressing than knowing your parents only trust you with a dog or a cat on a handheld system. Well, look up. When I was a kid, all I got was a Tamagotchi, or as I knew it, a Digipet. It was so revolutionary at the time. Now it looks just terrible. But it's time to trust children a little bit more. No, I don't mean get a real pet. Keep them digital. Kids these days aren't as responsible for picking up after their pets. No, give them Nintendogs and cats, and then add in some exotic animals like a monkey or a zebra. We can even go fantasy and add a unicorn or a dragon into the mix. Slap that game on the NX and watch children go wild. Wariorware NX. Wariorware is a series on different systems and would be welcome to the Nintendo NX. Known as a game filled with several different minigames, Wariorware takes players to a whole new level that Nintendo doesn't always seem comfortable crossing. The humor is often crude, but friendly, and is always nice to see Wario in a game since he hasn't been in a true adventure title of his own for a few years. San Francisco Rush. San Francisco Rush was a great racer back in the day. Graphics were stunning. It felt very real. And I mean the kind of real that was around before words like dynamic weather and 3D rain puddles were even a thing. There's always room for a fun arcade racer with only a small handful such as Forza Horizon and Drive Club. Rush really brought a true arcade feel to the road and would be welcome back on the NX. Shadow Man. If you run across a copy of Shadow Man on the N64, Dreamcast, or PC, buy it. If you run across the game for PlayStation, ignore it. The port on PS was terrible. Shadow Man is another little-known action-adventure game developed by Acclaim. Based around murderers, insane asylums, and deep mystery going back centuries, Shadow Man really deserves a sequel, prequel, remake, reboot, anything! Just the sheer creepiness and deep, dark gothic art style had me scared for a long time. Advanced Wars. Advanced Wars came out on the Nintendo Game Boy Advanced in 2001 to critical success. A turn-based strategy game, Advanced Wars soaked in a much deeper RTS than the cartoony aesthetics give it credit for. Receiving several sequels on the same and different consoles, Advanced Wars showed that Nintendo could do many different genres, make them fun, lighthearted, but mechanically tactical and awesome. Diddy Kong Racing. I know, at this point it doesn't seem possible, but this has been more of a wish list than something that will truly happen. So why not add in a close-to-my-heart racer from the N64 era? Yes, a little energetic version released not too long ago on the Nintendo DS, but Diddy Kong Racing for N64 showed us that Mario Kart could be beat at its own game. Diddy Kong did have more than Mario Kart did. It had everything we wanted in Mario Kart 64 but couldn't have. Flying and boating. Along with that, it actually borrowed characters from different games such as Conker and Banjo. Of course, it was made by Rare, and those characters can never come back to a new Diddy Kong game. But Nintendo has a large selection of characters to choose from. It also did everything Mario Kart did that makes it such a great success. Balloons that give special boosts and abilities, speed boost tracks for a second extra speed, kart jumping, and perfect controls. This gem definitely deserves a next-gen welcome. Have any other games you'd like to see on Nintendo NX when it debuts? Add it to the comment section down below. And let's reminisce on old memories that may one day come back out on Nintendo NX. Also, please consider subscribing to our channel. It really helps us out.